Well, today's video was supposed to be about the campaign in Gears 5, but after I had hundreds of people all ask me to address the subject, along with reading last week's newsletter from the Coalition, I had to make this video before I start my next big project. I thought the Coalition was getting better, I thought they were improving the game, and I thought they were listening and registering what we the fans were saying. Well, it looks like I thought wrong, because as soon as the Coalition had some good momentum going with the Gears 5 train, it didn't just stop it in its tracks. They drove it off the rails.
This is it, Marcus!
These developers are approaching insane levels of greed, and their mishandling of the microtransactions in the store is laughable at best. And before we get into all of those points, let me try and explain something that seems like so many Gears 5 fans just don't seem to get, and shut down some pretty weak defenses. I get flooded with DMs, tweets, emails, and all kinds of stuff from the Gears community about how my videos are nothing but toxic and how I am ruining this game for everyone. But no, I'm sorry. One person with 16k subs can't ruin a franchise. A bad game can ruin a franchise. If this game was as good as so many people claim it is, then it would be a lot higher on Xbox's most played list. But now it's fallen all the way out of the top 25 most played games, and it's barely been out 2 months. That's pathetic for one of Xbox's killer apps. And if this game was truly as good as a game like Skyrim, Halo 3, or hell, even the previous Gears games, it'd be a lot harder to make critical videos about it. Because guess what? There wouldn't be much to be critical of. And the dislikes would be dramatically higher than the likes. Instead of Gears 5, there's plenty of substance to criticize. The game has flaws, and we need to point out every single one of those, or things will never get better. Yes, I do agree we should never blindly hate a game. After all, I spoke out against this with several Mass Effect Andromeda videos, since the hate for that game was so strong the studio was shut down, and the IP was put on ice. But at the same time, blind praise is just as harmful as blind hate. Look at Fallout 76 for example. That game had a sizable loyal community that still defended and played the hell out of it, which led to the developers thinking it would be okay to implement a $100 annual subscription. If no one was saying anything negative of Gears 5, I can't even imagine how much the store prices would have increased. Second, I keep seeing people telling me to move on or to play something else. Well, I'm happily playing a lot of Modern Warfare right now, but no, I keep making these videos because the Gears community and fan base is so small currently that it's depressing. I truly do want this franchise to be successful and to dominate sales and player numbers like it used to. This franchise is amazing with incredible lore, characters, weapons, enemies, atmosphere, and so much more. And I truly do believe that Gears is still underrated, even though it's one of the few IPs in the $1 billion franchise club. Yet almost all of my close friends in real life and on Xbox aren't Gears fans. And I wanted nothing more than to convince them all to get into the franchise and try it for themselves. After all, we all love when our friends like and enjoy the same games that we do. So even though I wouldn't mind playing Gears 5 more often, I usually don't get to, since none of my friends want to play the game and most already have it uninstalled. That's why I'm not going to move on with Gears 5, because I want this to finally be a game that loads of people genuinely enjoy playing and want to come back to. Lastly, for those of you who think this video is a re-upload or repeat of previous videos, just because it's another Gears 5 one, I can't even imagine what you would think of channels that do daily news videos centered around one game. All of my Gears 5 videos have covered different topics and included new information, and if I really cared about views and nothing else, I could just cover Fallout 76 and Blizzard, since those are the trending topics for gaming news. Instead, I cover Gears 5 because I love this franchise, and as long as I have a voice, I'm going to try my best to help steer this game in the right direction, so that maybe one day I can finally make a video praising the Coalition for their amazing work on Gears. Also, if you defend this game by saying it just came out, so I need to give it time to be complete or else make my own game, well, I'll say the same thing here that I said on Twitter. Imagine if you bought a car and you were missing the doors, airbags, and windows and told those would be added to the car over the next 2 years. And then after you complain, the car dealer says make your own car. If developers in other industries can deliver a complete product at the time of purchase, then video games are no exception. Okay, with all the weak defenses and hate shot down, let's get into the meat of this video, starting with another mishap in the store. So by now I think it's pretty well known that the worst part of Gears 5 is none other than the store, which continues to be the major cause for a lot of the game's hate, and chances are if you're watching this video, you know pretty well how it works. So I won't bother trying to explain it in depth here, but the store is honestly so insulting and really does feel like it was better suited for a free-to-play game, and even then it would still need some work. Of course, people are going to start running to defend the Coalition, and just like even the devs have stated, they're going to say microtransactions fund a game's post-launch content when they don't charge for things like map packs, and to a sense that's true. However, when you look at a game like No Man's Sky, they don't have any microtransactions in the game and have funded post-launch content to fix the game over 3 years, and totally transformed it from being an ugly, mindless game to a beautiful gem in gaming. I even covered that process in a video that did extremely well. Now I know that was an indie game and not exactly akin to the Coalition, but even to that defense, I can once again look at Battlefront 2 and DICE for an example. That game has also made a great comeback and become something special entirely for free. Yes, the microtransactions were disastrous in the beginning, but thanks to complaints being voiced enough, the game has removed loot boxes entirely and moved to a cosmetic-only store like Gears 5. But there's one key difference. In Battlefront 2 and most other games, you can earn all the cosmetics by simply playing the game enough. Yes, it may be a grind, but at least you can earn them in-game. The main problem with this store is that you can't earn those items in the weekly store rotation by any method other than seeing how fast you can type your credit card into the purchase screen. That's where one of my main issues stems from. The other issue is while the prices have been reduced some, which I'm very thankful for, they are still too high. Why was the Winter Marcus skin $10 when entirely new characters and abilities were simply $5 just a couple weeks ago and can still be earned by grinding the game? This game is so broken with its own greed, it can't even seem to keep any kind of consistency in its own methods. Then you also had a stupid $5 foot tap emote and more blood splatters, which is another issue. These microtransaction items suck, plain and simple. It's already insulting that they actually monetize executions and character skins, which used to be free and unlockable in past Gears games, but the other items like blood splatters, flags, emotes, and etc. are so damn stupid and have had so little effort put into them. Instead of having the in-game executions be purchasable, they could have made those ones be a victory screen, and allow consumers to unlock the other in-game ones by simply playing the game. For blood splatters, they could have appeared on a victim's death screen after being bodied, chainsawed, or domed. My point is there are ways to make microtransactions that are new and cool without trying to monetize old gameplay features, and there are ways to make these cosmetics fit more within the Gears universe instead of looking like ones made for Fortnite. And again, I can't stress this enough, but right now another reason so many of us fans are upset about the store is due to the game just feeling very shallow on content. And to make matters worse, it looks like the speed of which we will receive these necessities is anything but fast. And the Coalition has also made a special occasion turn into nothing more than a joke. So recently, we've learned the speed at which we're going to receive new maps to Gears 5, and it's going to be an incredibly long wait. And the 13th anniversary for Gears should have been a day for celebration, but instead it was one of frustration and rage. First, let's look into the speed of post-launch content, but before I begin my criticism, let me say I do appreciate the developers hosting their developer streams and answering fan questions. That does require some effort, and it's never easy to answer questions live on the spot. And if you make a mistake live, you can't undo it, and the internet will always have that to use against you. So with that said, in one of the developer streams, the Coalition stated it will take around 6 months to create one good map post-launch for the game, and that to remaster old maps even from Gears 4 would also take 6 months. Well, I'm sorry, but that is a complete lie. In Gears 4, I believe 24 maps were added post-launch, since we even had an achievement for it, and that was over the course of 3 years. So if we do the math, that means we received 8 new maps per year, at a rate of 1 map per every month and a half. That's 4 times faster than the current speed the Coalition is claiming that they can do. So unless the Coalition has either reduced their studio size to a quarter of what it used to be, or has 4 times as many games in development, then their time frame of 1 map per 6 months is a complete lie. Plus, Gears 4 had to remaster old maps from an entirely different iteration of the Unreal Engine, while Gears 4 and 5 both run on Unreal Engine 4. That should dramatically speed up the process, not dramatically slow it. Now I understand it takes time to design good maps, and playtest the hell out of them to make sure they work well and flow well, but it can't take 6 months, or else that means in Gears 5, we'd only receive 6 new maps or remasters before Gears 6 eventually comes out. And I'm sorry, but that's not acceptable. Thankfully, the Reddit community has continued to mock the Coalition for this abysmal speed of content, and for their constant excuses about money being an issue for them. I'm also glad this game's subreddit is still just as great as it always has been, and some of the replies to this stuff is truly next level. Alongside the community anger and frustration regarding the store and the speed of content is a disappointment in the Coalition's rewards to fans for Gears of War's 13-year anniversary. 13 years is a big deal, and I don't think it's out of the question that many of us fans all expected to either get some of the Carmine brothers as free unlockables, or maybe some of the classic Delta Squad. After all, these are the kind of rewards we were accustomed to in Gears 4. But nope, the Coalition wanted to make this anniversary one to remember. So we got another stupid blood spray and 3 days of boost. Blood sprays are arguably the worst cosmetic in the game, and 3 days of boost is such a pathetic and lazy reward that part of me just thinks these were supposed to be reminders that we can actually buy this kind of crap in the store, and that the store is the primary focus for Gears. Gears 5 isn't an awful game by many standards. In fact, it's a good game, especially when it's firing on all cylinders. But it just isn't a good Gears game. And when so much of the community hates Gears 5, and when the player counts are so low that it's one of the cheapest video games to buy on Black Friday, I would expect the Coalition to take a step back and realize it's time to regain the trust of fans and to start building the game based off what the hardcore fans want. If you appease your loyal and dedicated fan base, they'll throw money at you, continue to play the game, and even spread good word of mouth and help organically grow the player base over time. Instead, the Coalition seems to think that monetizing the fans as much as possible while delivering low-effort cosmetics and new content at an excruciating slow pace is the way to make this game popular, and I just can't fathom the reasoning behind these decisions. You know, back when Microsoft bought the Gears IP and forced Black Tusk Studios to throw away all of their work on their new game and instead be renamed as a Coalition and focus only on Gears, the PR teams all said that the employees loved this decision and couldn't be happier to work on Gears. But from what I've seen so far of Gears 5, this is far from true. If the Coalition really wants to show that they're listening and care about the fans' reception of the game, then start by lowering prices, making good quality cosmetics, properly thanking fans, and release content at the same pace that you did it for Gears 4. Until then, I'm going to continue to call out this game's blatant abuse of fans and the studio's awful mishandling of the Gears franchise. Well, that wraps up this video on why Gears 5 is still being ruined by greed. So let me know what you think down in the comments, and as always, my Twitter account and Patreon are linked down below. And this video was made in part thanks to the generous support from Kruse. With that said, let's chat down in the comments, and if you like this video and want to see more like it, be sure to leave a like, share the video, and hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you all on the next Shepherd Gaming video. Keyless Ally.